I just got this shirt, which I'm proudly wearing for the first time in this video. Why do I talk about such mundane matters, something superficial, in a channel that's supposedly so spiritual and non-materialistic? Well, because everything can be made spiritual, especially on the path that I take. I don't have very many items of clothes, however you want to describe it. My wardrobe is shrinking all the time. I suffered losses. I had a vehicle stolen a couple of years ago with a dozen or more changes of clothing in there, among other things. A lot of tools also were stolen, heavy duty stuff. And then, as I mentioned to you, you may have seen the videos when I came back from sabbatical. I was on a trip. I went to New Mexico and Arizona, and after that I found before Christmas that my other vehicle was destroyed, picked clean. All the tires were taken off. I couldn't believe it. I haven't shown the video because it's so I don't know, whoever did it, must be in glee right now for the effect that it made on me, for the making me vulnerable. But I left myself that way because of how I managed it with a crew that was not trustworthy. And a lot of my clothing were in there and destroyed and somehow got burned up, either to clean the site or they just did it as a form of vandalism. I don't know. But that's why clothing is the topic today. And you don't know what you've got until it's gone. is the old axiom, and it is quite wise to look at life that way. But let's spruce up the conversation. Let's not look on the negative or the losses. Let's talk about video itself and give a comparison, because I'm a person that talks about knowledge. I will set your mind free. I will help you, because you have to do it from within. You have to be willing yourself to make that happen. I've been doing this for decades, but since the beginning on YouTube, the first year I got involved, and before that there was sites that pre-existed YouTube. And I've been a movie director since I had a Super 8 camera back in the early 80s, and I used to watch my grandfather film local documentary films, and that was in the 70s. So I've been on film myself since the 60s, with the explosion of the consumer grade celluloid cameras at that time. So home movies, as you want to call them. But the thing is, they're so much more valuable. A home movie is not to be put down. I'd rather watch a genuine home movie footage collection from the 60s rather than see one of these stupid, overrated Hollywood blockbusters that came out in the past year. I would. So if you're not of that ilk, then you just might not get it. You might not be there yet. You might not be oversaturated with the sensationalistic fluff that the studios and the TV networks and the mainstream has been shoving down your throat. Maybe you haven't had a gag reflex yet. Maybe you haven't vomited all of that out because you're overstuffed. Well, when you do get overstuffed, you'll realize it. Now, videos for me is not only therapy, but it's a way to reach the world. And I'm going to say a couple things here. Let's give the comparison, because I was looking at Jill Hayner's, which was X-Global being X, someone that I had personally talked with in the first year of YouTube. And she obviously thought I was trying to pick her up, but unfortunately, Jill, you think too highly of yourself. And I had communicated with her and then just stopped. I didn't want to be one of her fanboys. I'm not anybody's fanboy. And I was checking in on her channel. She's got over 27,000 subscriptions on her main channel. So if you combine up all of her supplementary channels, she's got probably around 35,000, possibly more. That's surprising, because I thought that she would have more than that, considering that some of these later on brown-nosing, useless, not worth watching bag of wins have 1 million subscribers, and she doesn't even have 100K, 100 grand. But having said that, her 27,000 plus on her main channel is a lot more than my 6,000 plus on my main channel. I've got a combined total of maybe a dozen thousand, 12 to 13,000, something like that now. Now, if I have much less than half of her subscribers, let's say 1/3. It's 1/4. I have 1/4 of her subscribers. And I looked, she only puts out a video now less than a month or every 2 months. And some of them, like from a year ago, don't even have 800 views. And then I looked at one from like 6 months ago. It had like 500 views. I'm perplexed by that, because she's a good-looking woman. She's almost middle-aged now, or she is. And you would expect with 27,000 subscribers she would get more views when she releases a video. But no, I guess she fell out of favor since she did the free hugs campaign and all that kind of junk. It can happen to anybody. It's been happening to me since the beginning. It's who you know. And if you don't have an inside connection and you didn't do the big wazoo, if you get my colloquialism, then you're not going to get anywhere in this business. Now, on the other side of the spectrum, by sheer luck, I just caught up with one of my old associates who we've been disconnected for a couple of years, but he is part of the Internet-Global network, and I'm still proud to have him. Even though he's inactive, he's doing a spin-off thing now. I'm not going to name his name because we're not in talks right now. Nothing necessarily negative. We've just moved on. Sometimes you have to separate just to do your own thing. And there's nothing in particular that I know of, and nothing in particular that he's saying now. I think he's just a really independent, and that's the problem with a lot of us, is that we're too independent. So he just was releasing some videos in the past month on his self-channel that he did since 2009. That's after I left from where he was living, and I haven't physically, I've seen him a couple more times since that 2009. But anyhow, this channel that dates back to 2009, he put out like 20 videos recently because he resurrected the account, and you know, each one of the videos it's an average of like 3 or 4 views. And you know, hypothetically, if he would contact me, if we were going to talks, so he would be an associate producer, he would be getting probably within the first month about 100 views to any one of those videos, if he re-uploads, or if he just continues his series within the Internet Global network. Now you see, having said that, you're talking about a handful of views, then you're talking about maybe 100 views in a month, and then you're talking about someone who's huge only getting like around 1,000 views within a month or a year. So there's a lot of variables here. Some of it doesn't really make sense. It can only make sense if you factor in unknowns. And we have always suspected that the unknowns are unfair manipulation that is being done from within the YouTube system, the internal YouTube corporate-controlled mechanism. We've always suspected this, but there hasn't been any hard evidence. You know, it's a secret, it's a cryptocracy, it's a plutarchy, it's a shadow government. I know you say, oh, it's a private website. No, it's not. It's ranked number 1 in the world. It is functioning as a virtual government. And I mean a virtual, like a de facto virtual government, a virtual cybernetic government. And we were supposed to be within that when I ran my term as the first YouTubia president. Yes, if you haven't heard about that, there was such a thing. We were supposed to be the aware center, the core of what was going on here. But it got squashed out. You know, they couldn't have any of that. They had to destroy any means of forming community. True community. Not totally capitalized, dumbed down community. So we're talking about video now. But I'm going to wrap this up with a really shocking conclusion that I think some of you are not going to like. But you will not forget me. You will remember me. That's for sure. You might not remember the names because that can be forgotten. You might be a little bit hazy about the face because you're just getting it through video. You haven't met me personally necessarily. But you remember my message. You remember the essence of whatever I give you, and that's for sure. There's been over a million, several million people that have been touched by the truth that I'm forcing out there. I'm exposing it to you, and you are exposing yourselves to it. Here's the shocker of this video message, a vlog.